Were saying that you would actually be perfect for the job. As you mentioned, Mr. Romualdez, you've been known to be quite close to members of the U.S. Embassy, even past ambassadors. So it was actually very interesting for some people when the President named you to be the next U.S. ambassador, just to prove that there was no hate possibly between the President and the United States by appointing Mr. Babe Romualdez.
Well, I'm flattered that he thinks that way, but I think it really, well, I'm free to say that the President says that I have no real fight with the United States. He says that he feels that the relationship is important, of course, but he has set the tone. He wants to have an independent policy where we don't want to have to depend entirely or put all our eggs in one basket, which I think a lot of people agree. And maybe it's paying off now to a certain extent, because we have a president in the United States who has now come out with an American first policy, which is very clear that he would like to see things happening in their country more than what's going on outside. So in the same breath, we can see that the president is in fact is going to Russia. President Duterte is going to Russia in April. So this will obviously open. Well, we've had relations with Russia for many years, but this one will give it a little more importance to that relationship.
It was a relationship of what, a decade, 60 or 70 years, but they call it somehow as a passive relationship. This is probably one of the more engaging relationships we would have with Russia, especially with the President's upcoming visit. We were able to speak to the ambassador of Russia regarding this, and they're very excited to have the President. Apparently they're just waiting for the climate to ease up a bit, because it's a little too cold in Russia right now.
President Duterte hates the cold. We're told, yes.
You were saying a while ago, Mr. Romualdez, that we need an ambassador immediately or now. How soon do you think, and why?
Well, first of all, you can see that we have a number of issues to be concerned with. And I think, let's put it this way, an ambassador obviously has to have has to start moving around with the new administration of President Trump and setting up relationships. Networking now in Washington, D.C. is very important. The Vietnamese ambassador, I understand, who's there in Washington, is going around very aggressively, which is the way it should be. And secondly, well, we have close to 4 million Filipinos living in the United States. Obviously, an ambassador plays a major role in making sure that our Filipino kababayans are sort of like taken care of in a way.
And when you talk about 4 million, are you talking about 4 million legal and illegal, or are those just the documented ones?
I think that's debatable. From what I'm told, officially there are about 3.2 million, so we're looking at about 800,000 possible illegals. Now, I think you've read in my column that we've had the information that we have is 310,000 have already been identified as illegal Filipino
living in the U.S.
Filipinos living in the United States.
Yeah.